The auto parts store didn't have them. The hardware store didn't have them. Walmart didn't have them. And I find the weights here at Hurricane Hobbies. I should have just started here. Well, hello, Blue Troopers, Max and Max's models here, and I'm finishing up in the TARDIS for tonight. I got a late start today, even though I had the whole day, so I decided to come out here and just work. But I had computer problems this morning, so I had to try and get that fixed. I only partially got it done. Wound up having to completely reset my primary editing program, and then a bunch of stuff was missing. All the transitions, the chroma key, all the special effects, everything's gone. It's just not there. I won't bore you with the details. If you've ever done tech support and that kind of thing, so I still don't know if it's working right. I had it uploading and came out here to I was going to come out here and just work, but my wife made her absolutely delicious spaghetti. So I ran off to the grocery store to get a few things and stopped by Hurricane Hobbies, picked up, as you may have seen in the beginning, I stopped at the auto parts store, which is right next to Hurricane Hobbies. They only have those little lead weights, the stick-on lead weights. Buy the big $500 case because they sell them only to garages and stuff. They won't sell individual packs. It's great. So I went over Hurricane Hobbies, pick up some paint and stuff, and while I was lamenting my fate to Ian, he goes, "I got those." Apparently, they're also the same thing as manufactured under another name for RCs to weight them down, weight and balance. So that should have gone to the hobby shop first. Still haven't been able to find the Mr. Hobby tool cleaner that's supposed to basically be, airbrush cleaner, which you can use as a glue. And it's supposed to be less expensive. Nobody carries it. Walmart lets you order it, but it's more expensive or as expensive as just going to the Hurricane Hobbies and buying when I started doing the math, I'd save like $3 over just buying the stuff at Hurricane Hobbies, using the airbrush. And you know what? I'd rather give the business to my local hobby shop. So I grabbed some more thinner there. Probably going to use as glue. That stuff does come in handy, and it's cheaper than the Tamiya Ultra Thin. Anyway, we all know that story. So I have a third Spitfire. I forgot about it. It's an older Airfix one that was in the office that I just kind of had on display. And I said, well, I'm doing, the first kit build, and for me, I'm pretty sure it was an Airfix Spitfire. I know it was a bagged blue Spitfire. That makes me think it was one of the early bag kits. I was 5 or 6 years old, so it's about 67. I think that time's out about right. It could have been some other knockoff company, but anyway, I'm doing the Airfix 172nd Spitfire. You guys saw the one. I didn't have a canopy or anything that had pilfered from my nephew, and that he got some sort of knick-knack shop used when he was based in Germany. Still got all those other models over here in a box. But I also had the other one, which was a more modern one, which I'm working on now, and it's coming together okay. That's the Mark 1A. And then I realized, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I know that Mark 5 over there didn't have a proper canopy, but this one turned out to be missing the port horizontal stabilizer. And Brainiac here, just as I'm sitting here recording, just had the thought, since that's got a makeshift canopy, why didn't I just use that as a parts donor to finish this one? That would have been the simplest thing. Then I could do whatever I want with the other one. And I may still do that. But in the meantime, I went digging in my parts bin, and I knew I didn't have a 172nd scale Spitfire, but I had an old Starfix Spitfire that I had pilfered several parts off of for various projects. Go through a lot of Spitfire parts. Anyway, and I know it was the wrong side, but you know what? We'll just mark it off, start standing, and now we've got it on the airplane. And like that Newport horizontal stabilizer I had to do, it's not perfect, but it's like something to fit. But now I'm thinking maybe I should just go swap out for that other one. I'll get this primed and see how it looks, but I may just do that. Why didn't I just think about that to begin with? Anyway, you know what? Since I've got kind of the made-up canopy on the other one, if I do that, I could just sort of kit bash the other Spitfire and make something completely, imaginary out of it, and that way I can steal parts of it what I want. We'll see how that pans out. But here's the one that I made, and it's not perfect, but it's fairly close. But Now that I eyeball it, I think I filed it down just a little too much. But anyway, and it is too thick. That's it. Hang on. Let me see if I can do this without wrecking both airplanes. Just hit pause here. And we're back. I know what you were thinking. I was on the shelf. I was done. I was safe. Ah! Oh, the other reason I'm late getting out here is with lunch, we watched Kong Skull Island. So I'm in the mood to trash some aircraft. All I have to do is try and build them to do that. Let's see. All right, this is the port stabilizer. Let's see. No, you're in there tight. And by the way, they have a different mount on them. So I'm going to have to... Oh, nope, there it goes. Got it to come out. So let's just pluck this one out. I'm going to do something interesting with you. It's just out of curiosity. Ooh, that's an ugly fit because this one has this big flange around it. Right here. Let's see. But it's exactly the right size. I can file that down and just plug it right in there. Hold on. You know, I also don't know, I could have just taken the canopy off this one and put on the other one, and that would have completed that one. Just saying. Although the Mark V and the Mark I might have slightly different canopies. Hold on. Doing some filing here. All right, guys, you're going to have a lot of outtakes tonight. So, this is the newest of the 3 Spitfires that I'm working on. It's this one by Airfix, 1/72nd scale, Mark 1A. It has these markings with the black and white underbelly. This is the only set of decals you get with it. It's the way I intend to paint it. Then the one I started working on today that I wound up not having one of the port stabilizer for was this older one of the Mark 5B. And since it is otherwise a complete kit, and a pretty nice one I might add, I went ahead and pirated the tail off of that one that has, you know, the makeshift canopy on it. I figured this way, at least this has got all 1/72nd scale Spitfire parts. And this one comes with the option of American marking, so I might do that. Ooh, got a piece dangling there. I did not glue that on well. Okay, just take that off. There. Okay, let's just set that back here and let that harden. And then we have this one, the one I had quote unquote finished the other day. I put my hacked up tail on there because this one's not accurate anyway. And I may do further mods to this. I mean, if you're gonna, you know, be hiding these little repairs, that's actually, I think, the newest of the 3 kits. I already packed the box away, but 3 basic 1/72nd scale Airfix Spitfires. And a couple missing parts aside, I've managed to create difficulty on each one of them for myself. That's my superpower. Again, I'll tell you something I did on this this one earlier today, and that was this is a much simpler cockpit. It's just got the pilot, a seat, a floor, and a back. All right, and a little gun sight that goes in. And when I put him in, I was like, he's sitting way too high in the cockpit. I know how low that Spitfire bubble sits. That's not right. And I look in there. It's kept this simple, and I managed to get a major component wrong because I built so many models. You know, I just cursory glance at the instructions. It's a 4-piece. I know how this goes together. Turns out that this is designed so you can put the pilot in from underneath. So you put the pilot on the bottom of those alignment rails, not on top like you do on every other model I ever built. So, yeah, had to pry apart, reset back. Fortunately, you know, the glue hadn't hardened too much. I was like, how can I do it? It's like I invent new ways to make rookie mistakes. And I'll tell you what it's from partly. It's just, you built so many of those things, you just glance the instructions. We have an old saying both in the military and in aviation, RTFQ, rid the friggin' question. But I got them all set and hardened them up for the night. And I'm going to mask this blue one tomorrow. And I've already, as you saw, I've already put a masked and put a coat of paint on this one, or primer. Tomorrow is paint day. And that's really all I got done in here today because I did enough damage. But the real problems I'm having are with the computer, so that's really been a distraction. It's been actually kind of nice to come out here and tinker on this. You got the pilots painted and everything and dolled up the cockpits, even though I'm sure you won't be able to see it once the model is done. Well, I don't know. He's got I always give him those yellow Life Mae West type life jackets, the blue uniforms, and the little flesh on the face, the brown on the helmet. So, you might look in there and see the correct colors. Your brain will kind of fill in the rest. But I needed a little break today, so sitting back and watching Kong smash helicopter pilots, or helicopters with the world's stupidest pilots. Even my wife noticed. I mean, we really love the director, I think, of Kong Skull Island. Boy, talk about a tangent. From Spitfires to King Kong. In fact, we were commenting how, there's no reason those helicopters would be that close. There's a reason they have guns so they can shoot from a distance. But I think the director wanted to sort of outdo Peter Jackson, his great scene with Peter Jackson, the '05 King Kong, where he's the scene on top of the Empire State Building, which is really the only reason I watch that movie is to see that scene again. And so, by the way, one of the Glue Troopers sent me a picture. He was using Tupperware to make the building. Got him, I think it was a Mika King Kong, and made this. That's pretty nice. Where was it going with? Oh yeah, I think the guy who made Kong Skull Island just went out doing, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a great scene, a lot of fun, incredible special effects. But there were like 11 Hueys, a Sea Stallion, and what the Army was doing with Sea Stallion, I don't know, because that's a Marine Corps helicopter, maybe Navy. I mean, they must have stole it. And of course, a Chinook. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no reason for any of those helicopters, especially the Chinook, to be getting that close. And he's sitting there, Kong's got his hand cut from the tail rotor on the Sea Stallion when he grabbed it. I'm like, let me see if I got this right. The tail rotor waxes his hand up, but all the cannons and miniguns and rockets, all the other stuff they're using, just, irritating. But it's a King Kong movie. Just take it for what it is. Have fun. Enjoy your popcorn. Don't take it seriously. And have a great time enjoying the footage. Not to mention the cool, 70s, 60s, and 70s soundtrack. But, and by the way, I was a little surprised when Samuel L. Jackson pulls his pistol on John Goodman to pump him for information. Maybe it's just the director wanting to be a little esoteric, but it's not. It is a .45 automatic, but it's not a 1911. It's a 1903. And I was like, that's an interesting choice. I guess whatever. I don't know what was going through his mind. And yes, I know, too many helicopters. There's, I think, 5 Hueys on the deck, the Chinook on the bow, supposedly Sea Stallions on the stern. Everybody goes, yeah, but there was a hangar that when you do the round shot, and I said, yeah, and I counted 3 more Hueys. Okay, that makes like 7 or 8. They had 11. And not to mention, that means they have to roll them out, pre-flight them, warm them up one at a time off the stern. Yeah, sorry guys, it just doesn't add up. Just next time, use a bigger ship. But again, I know, King Kong movie, I'm just enjoy it. You're one of us when you watch a movie like that and you completely forget about the 300, 400 foot tall monkey and the giant lizards and the hole in Hollow Earth and all that stuff. And you focus on, wait a minute, they've got too many helicopters. It's how brain works. You know what? I'm going to stop there. I'll wind up sailing off on a tangent. We'll be here all night. Guys, that's it for today. Maybe we'll talk about this stuff on the live stream. We are probably going to be talking about our earlier kits, our first build kits. Homework assignment for you. For the live stream, if you guys want to email me to maxismodels367@gmail, or you can use the Maxis Models at Yahoo. They're both fine. If you got a picture of your first build or something, or if you can download a box art cover and send it to me, maybe we'll talk, and you tell us something about that kit. Maybe we'll go through your emails and stuff on them. And tomorrow I'm supposed to have lunch with Bruce the Mystic Modeler Ship, so I'm looking forward to that. We will be talking, I'm sure, at some point. Kit models will be in the discussion chain. Guys, you take care of yourselves as always. Model on.
One.
It's this kit. from Airfix. Let's see, this is, boy, that can't, is that the kit number? A010718, that's kit. Cut. This is the older Mark V-B, and I put that hacked up tail on it. No, I'm sorry. Good Lord. Okay, Max, now I'm getting cut. Then we have this one, which is the one I found on the shelf yesterday. This is an older 1/72nd scale Mark I. And no, this, wait a minute. Where's the box? Is this Mark I? Hold on. Okay, had a little camera malfunction there. I thought I'd paused it and it just turned itself off right in the middle while I was talking. So, I'm not sure where I left off. So this is the newer Airfix Mark I 1/72nd scale Spitfire. And it is in, you have the option of American or Polish squadron markings. Oh, I got the box right here. Make sure I got that right. No, I'm sorry. Okay, start over again. Yep, that one's going into orbit.
I've got a bench that's sturdy and wide, my little corner where pieces collide. With glue and paint and a lot of heart, it is where I assemble my parts. My workbench is my personal throne, a place where chaos is my own. Models rise and models fall, but this old table has seen it all. Their steering parts sprinkled like fairy dust, X-Acto knife blades beginning to rust. My tweezers sing a clumsy tune, while tiny model rockets reach for the moon. My workbench is my personal throne, and all of its chaos is my own. Models rise and models fall, but this old table has seen it all. The coffee stains tell stories untold, the battle scars of projects bold. I built a ship that couldn't float, and a car with a thumbprint from the final coat. Their steering parts sprinkled like fairy dust, X-Acto knife blades beginning to rust. My tweezers sing a clumsy tune, while tiny model rockets reach for the moon. My workbench is my personal throne, and all of its chaos is my own. Models rise and models fall, but this old table has seen it all. But this old table has seen